Our minds are so powerful that what we focus on reverberates through every aspect of our lives. So why not see what happens when we put our attention on all the good things people are doing? Join me for the good with Teresa G as we start a ripple effect by focusing on all the greatness in the world. Nate Neustadt is a middle school student who loves acting, singing, tennis, reading, cooking, travel, video games, and following international club soccer. He's appeared in local youth theater productions and is a member of Impact on Stage, an improv group that sparks discussions about bullying, inclusion, diversity, and violence in schools. I first saw Nate on a video on social media, and his articulation and conviction about helping people rise above bullying captured my heart, and I had to invite him on the podcast. And here we are. Nate is here today. Thank you so much for being here, Nate.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be on the podcast.
Is this your first podcast?
Yes, it is.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us about your experience of being bullied.
So in 5th grade, I transferred to a private school to get away from Common Core math because I really didn't get it. I found the teaching to be overcomplicating and just very confusing. And everything at the new school that I was at was pretty cool for a few weeks. But then I started getting teased, first about being boyfriend and girlfriend with another student, which we definitely weren't. And then about things I was getting wrong in math. And actually, after class one day, one of the kids came up to me and said to me that you're not smart enough to be here. And that really hurt and confused me because to get in the school, you had to take this placement test. And I'd taken the same placement test that everybody else did to get into the school. So I stopped raising my hand and I stopped asking for help because I didn't want to get teased and bullied. And because of that, my grade really suffered. Then later in the year, I started getting kicked and punched by these girls in my class. They'd pick on me in the hallway and recess, even in the classroom. Honestly, I have no idea why. During lunch, I'd hide in a part of the campus I knew was safe, which was this little garden space that technically I wasn't allowed to be in there, but it was a better alternative than being kicked and punched. So I felt that I was very safe there. I hated going to school because the environment was just so stressful and toxic, and it gave me horrible stomach every day due to the stress.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was definitely stressful and very scary because I didn't want to get hurt throughout the day because I thought school was supposed to be a safe place for kids like me.
Right. Or schools should be a safe place, period.
Exactly.
So did you tell your parents about how you were getting bullied?
Well, I made the mistake of not telling them right away. When my math grade started suffering, my math teacher actually reached out to my parents and told them about what was happening and how my math grade was suffering. He didn't know that any of the bullying was going on. And so he called my parents in and we all had a chat. My math teacher, my parents and we all had a chat. And then I told them what was happening about me being teased for not being smart enough for math, for the math class, and also the boyfriend and girlfriend thing. And so my parents talked to the school administration and they had a chat with my classmates and it got better. It did get better for a few weeks, but right after winter break ended and school started up again, the bullying started again, but it got much worse because I was actually being physically abused this time by getting kicked and punched. And so that went on for a few weeks, and then I finally just had it. I was done with everything that was going on. And I came home and I threw my backpack onto the floor and it skittered across my house. And I just shouted, "I can't deal with this anymore." And I just started crying and sobbing. And I finally told my parents what was going on and how I was being kicked and punched. And I lifted up my pant leg and I showed them the baseball-sized bruise on my shin. And they had a talk with the administration, but it was more serious this time. And the administration didn't do anything about it. They said that that's how gifted kids acted, that's how they were competitive. And so I ended up leaving that school and transferring to a new school.
Wow. I graduated from Columbine High School, so it's really hard for me to hear that the administration didn't support you, and I apologize for that.
Thank you.
So but it seems like something greater has evolved from this whole experience. So we're going to move to that aspect because it really is an amazing part of this story. Mm-hmm. Why don't we start off with you telling us, what did getting bullied teach you?
I learned how important it is to tell your parents when it's happening, because I made that mistake twice and it hurt me greatly. I didn't tell my parents because I didn't want to get the kids in trouble and I didn't want to make things worse. And I know that sounds weird, but that's just how my brain works, because I want everybody to just be okay with me being there. And I didn't want to get those kids in trouble because I didn't want them to hate me more. But when I finally spoke up, I learned that I actually wasn't the only student that this was happening to. I learned that not only you have to speak up to help yourself, but you also have to speak up to help other kids. I also learned when I got into middle school that even if you have a great class full of a lot of friends, you can still get bullied. When I was in 6th grade, a group of 7th graders started picking on me and making fun of my height. And I know you can't see me, but I'm not the tallest guy for my age. They also made fun of the fact that I'm in theater and that I take dance classes. They called me fag, faggot, and gaylord. And when I asked them to stop, they didn't. Thankfully, though, I learned my lesson and I didn't keep quiet this time. I talked to my parents and the school administrators, and it was taken care of quickly. So, again, it's super important to tell your parents or a trusted adult about the bullying that is happening to you very early on so they can deal with it and so you don't get harmed.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And I'm really happy to hear that you immediately talked to your parents this time and it just sort of changed that whole experience for you because it ended quickly.
Yeah.
What inspired you to write your first book, Bullied, Not Broken, When the Bullies Don't Win?
So last year when I was studying for my bar mitzvah, I had decided on a mitzvah project, which is a service project, and that is part of the process of having a bar mitzvah. I wanted to do something that would make a lasting impact. So I decided to write a book for kids like me who have been bullied in the past or are currently going through it, so that they know they're not alone and that they'll get through this. I include the stories of 19 actors, musicians, business icons, politicians, and artists, how they were bullied, how they dealt with it, and all they learned. I wanted kids to see that even though this painful experience is happening, they can go on and achieve their big dreams.
And I suggest every one of you go and get this book. I have it and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed learning more about Nate, and I enjoyed learning about all these different people, icons, actors, all sorts of people, how they experienced bullying and how they dealt with it and evolved to these great people and later life. So Nate, it's with you, you've just evolved so quickly with this, but in a lot of the stories, it's people are talking about how they, it took many years and until they were adult, until they were able to look back at that experience and see the value in it. What was the biggest gift you experienced by writing Bullied, Not Broken?
Honestly, the biggest gift I think was being able to express my experience on paper. That experience was just really therapeutic for me. It helped me get all my feelings out and actually write down what had happened because I had never done that before. And another gift is knowing that since I've written this book, it's helping kids all over the country and even kids as far away as Australia. And I've received emails and handwritten cards about how my book is helping kids and parents talk to their kids about bullying, even if they haven't been bullied, so they're prepared and so they don't become bullies themselves. And teachers and school administrators have told us they purchased the book for their class and school libraries, so it becomes a part of their curriculum, which I think is amazing. But what's incredible is that the book just came out a couple of months ago, so I'm really just getting started on how big this impact can be.
It's amazing. Everyone, it's amazing. So can you tell us about the Born This Way Foundation and why you decided to donate book proceeds to Born This Way?
Oh, yeah, I'd be happy to. It was very important to me and my parents that my mitzvah project raised money for charity after doing a lot of research, and I mean a lot of research. I picked the Born This Way Foundation, which was founded by Lady Gaga and her mom, Cynthia Germanata. The foundation does a lot of research and provides tools and a community for kids to get through challenges like bullying to be themselves in all parts of their lives. And I'm super excited to be sending the first big check to them.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so excited.
So, what would you tell someone who's getting bullied and listening right now?
No matter how hard this experience may be for you or how hurtful it feels, you will get through this, and you are a great person with great potential. Understand that the bullying is not about you, it's that the bully is hurting on the inside.
And it's so true. So true. When we treat people how we treat ourselves.
That's true. And sometimes, a lot of the time, actually, the bully is the one that's hurting the most and just doesn't know how to express their feelings. And so sometimes the way that they express their feelings is by lashing out at other people to make themselves feel better. Because if they put that anger onto somebody else, then they feel better because they've shared their anger with somebody else.
It's true. And, ever since I've become a mom, when someone, because even as an adult, you'll run into sometimes people acting a little bullyish.
Oh, yes.
And I will imagine them as a baby because I'm a mom now. And I'll be like, oh, gosh, I feel so bad. You were once a baby and something happened that made you be this upset. And it just helps me be so much more compassionate for that person because, you're always compassionate for babies. So I've noticed that's been a side effect of motherhood. One question I ask everyone that ever comes on the show is, what do you do every day to be your best self?
Honestly, ever since I was a little kid, my parents have told me to be kind, be respectful to others, and that all of our differences are what make us unique and create a thriving community. I like to listen and learn about other people and other cultures, and I feel it's my duty and all of our duties as human beings to speak out against things that aren't right and just aren't just in the world. Sometimes it's really hard and I make mistakes. I'm a teenager trying to figure it all out, but I try to do my best.
And you know what? I'm still making mistakes and I'm pretty old. Nate, you are amazing. And I'm so thankful for the ripples of change you are creating through your book and just by being you. So thank you so much for joining us. And again, everyone go out there and buy Nate's book, Bullied, Not Broken, When the Bullies Don't Win.
Thank you. You can get a copy of my book. You should go to my website, bulliednotbroken.com, and you'll find a link to the Amazon page, or you can just go straight to Amazon and just type in bulliednotbroken.com.
I will have that link on my website also, and we will also have the link I'm going to get the link to your Facebook or your Instagram post that you did too, because that was so impressive. And I wanted to finish off this show with a quote from Lady Gaga that is in Nate's book. Don't you ever let a soul in the world tell you that you can't be exactly who you are. Take care, everyone.
I'm Teresa Gabrielle, and you've been listening to The Good with Teresa G. You can follow The Good with Teresa G on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you haven't yet, go to the Apple Podcast and subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. Join me next week for another inspiring conversation. Thank you for listening.